Welcome to the Iron Table, where iron sharpens iron, so should men sharpen men. I am your host, Bryant Gadine, and I'm joined by my brothers, Keith, Danny, and Steve. We are your waiters, your short order cooks, serving up pride in a unique way. Today, we are serving our main dish, accountability, with a side of truth. Sometimes we might laugh, sometimes we might get deep, but always we will use respect for self and each other. This isn't that discussion designed to make you forget about your troubles. It's designed to help you remember who you once were and will be, leaders. So come, pull up a chair, sit for a while, for truth and accountability is always on the menu. We bring you to our program already in progress.
All right. Good evening. It's the Iron Table where iron sharpens iron, so should men sharpen men. As the intro said, I am Bryant, and I'm brought to the table my brothers Keith, Danny, and Steve. And tonight is going to be a pretty interesting night. I don't think we really know what we're going to talk about until kind of put the questions out there. But before we get into that, Steve actually had a good icebreaker, and
Don't
I
do it,
want to
Steve.
know. Yeah, go ahead, go on, Steve.
Don't do it.
Nah, go ahead and do it. People need to
Oh,
know
you for
this.
real?
Oh no, I'm
Steve,
going.
don't do it, bro.
No, I need. We
All
need.
right.
We need to be able
Go
to talk
ahead.
about
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
What do you do as a man, as a husband, as a father, whatever, when you find out that your mother, well, let's not even just leave it to your mother, your sister, your aunt, your daughter has an OnlyFans page.
Now, for those who don't know, what is an OnlyFans page?
I've never been on it before, but I've heard, I've heard it's a venue where you can I'm a well no I can't say pay to play, but it's something where you can you see somebody maybe on a camera and they are doing things, whether it's playing the piano, whether it's
Okay.
some maybe they're reading they're opening things such as boxes, or maybe they're taking off some clothes, or maybe they're doing a sexually explicit act with other people, and you pay for that subscription to see these particular things. A lot of times it is of the latter when we're talking about sexually explicit content. And people get paid. They get paid some big bucks or whatnot, so in the land of um
How much they get
influencers,
paid?
now, I don't know this, but no, it's some big money to be made out here with this. I think a lot of even porn stars are transitioning to that because it's instant money, and I think it's direct. They can control that, but um, a lot of times, I think a lot of some teachers have gotten fired from there's been some exposure to, hey, what, said teacher has an OnlyFans page. Okay, you got to go. But what do we do as men, as fathers, as husbands, when we find out that um our maybe our mother, maybe our aunt, maybe our sisters, or maybe our um maybe our daughters, or heck, maybe our brothers, maybe our fathers, they on there too.
Hold
um
on.
our
Wait a minute.
our
Hold on.
sons
Come
are
on.
on OnlyFans. Now, I'm not gonna say what happens if our wives are on there, because that's a whole other different story. You know what I mean? But again, it's something that is very real out here. I've had some clients where they have found out that somebody that they know, not really a significant other, but somebody that they know is on this particular platform. It makes them feel a certain way, because a lot of times everything is all good and dandy until it hits home. So we don't have any problems watching somebody else until, oh, mama on there, shaking it fast, or doing something explicit. But it's at the end of the day, how are we supposed to feel about that?
Yes. No.
You know,
No,
why
mama,
we-
no. Mama, no. That's what you do.
Well,
Mama, no.
Well, the first
hey,
thing
mama got needs too.
I-
She a human being.
Yes.
Mama can always ask for money, and say, "Hey, I'm a little short, baby. I done raised you, brought you into this world. It's time for me to,
Oh, we not talking about bill money. We talking like 6 figures that they make.
I'm established money for some of these people, not
Mhm.
everybody. Now,
Oh, yeah.
I don't have an account either. I've never seen it, but I remember when there was a big stir about it, and I thought they kicked all of that. I thought they stopped all of that, but apparently, I already know people said they found ways around it because at first. So my understanding was you couldn't intentionally go in to do adult material. You had to, from what I understood in the article, you had to. People were like you said, they would cook or play the piano, like they would add something in it that would just. And people. I mean, I know people are voyeurs, but it's really I'm gonna call them weird. People are weird. Like you pay money to watch somebody, since we're using the theme, play the piano naked. Like, I don't know, but
What would you
but mama,
do?
but
Yeah, but
mama,
what would you do? But mama, sister, or daughter. This is real.
it is real because we've dealt with this before. Except it was a strip club.
when we say we, I want to make sure that you're leaving me out of that.
There was a client
This
who
ain't a table thing. This is
Don't act like you weren't there, Bryant.
Hmm?
Last Thursday night. Don't act like you weren't there.
I was not there. I don't even know what I was doing Thursday. But I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna have to take it for secondhand knowledge because I don't want to go on there looking for what you told me. I don't want to look at my mom, sister, or anybody that I really know on OnlyFans. I don't even want to go on there. My browser has never gone to OnlyFans. Just gonna say
9 times out of 10, somebody's gonna come to you and say, "Hey, just want to let you know X, Y, and Z." Did
so
you
then
know?
go to the source. Like, hey, mama,
What do you do? Like, what do you do? Like when
you don't go look at it.
Yeah.
True. Look, that's rule number 1. Don't go looking.
Yeah, don't go looking.
no, you don't, because you don't want to see. You don't want to see that. You can't unsee that. You don't.
Sure can.
Yeah,
That's
especially
now
if they're
what
going by their stage name, Juicy Lucy and the Wild Bunch.
In the Wild Bunch.
Now,
Yeah,
what if you find out after they've made a big financial purchase on your behalf? Do you turn it back in?
I was gonna say, well, I was gonna use a letter and say that, but I'm going to try to keep it PG. But
No, I mean,
I'm good. I don't want no parts of that. That's blood money. I can't. I absolutely cannot.
So you're saying you would turn it back on? She done bought you a car. Said, "Here, son, here is a car, your dream car." You're like, "No, I don't want it anymore. I'll turn it in about a week." No, I mean, I accepted it because at the time I knew that it was a gift of love.
Now, we'll say this: have you seen the Kev on stage, churchy? I don't know the part where the little girl comes to him to pray for his OnlyFans.
Oh yeah.
No, I haven't seen that.
It is hilarious.
Came in and asked him. Go ahead.
The pastor to come and pray for his OnlyFans. He's like, I can't pray for sake, pastor. This is how I take care of my family. He's like, oh, this is my job. I'm not going to be praying for your OnlyFans. He's like, you out there showing stuff. And she was like, what you think I'm doing? He was like, you showing like all kind of inappropriate stuff. He's like, no, I just, show feet pictures. And he was like, feet pictures? He was like, what? And she basically lets him know that she makes five figures selling feet pictures. And he's just like, oh my goodness, let's pray. So he starts praying for the Lord to his OnlyFans. And then he says, because Lord, we're only fans of you, dear God. And he's going all into the how she needs to return 10% to this ministry, or that God will curse it and strike it down in Jesus' name. And so it's actually hilarious, but it shows that that conversational dialogue between somebody who's just like, well, I can't support OnlyFans. Wait, what? You just showing feet pictures? That's it?
Mm.
And you
And maybe
making
that's what OnlyFans, is trying to say, is that we're not just about porn. There's other forms of
who gonna
of
pay for
things.
feet pictures though? Like I don't
That's
understand.
how
I've never been on OnlyFans.
Look,
You'd be
weird.
surprised.
Look,
Yeah,
that's
do.
big business.
that's beyond
big.
weird though.
It is big business.
This is like feet pictures. Like I'm gonna pay my hard-earned money to get a picture and videos of your feet. What
Well, you
the
probably
Okay.
tired of seeing your own feet. Maybe you tired of
Okay.
seeing feet, East Coast feet. You want to see some West Coast feet.
I'm gonna have to blow your mind, Danny, because there is a segment of stuff out there where a woman can, what's the PC what defecate. That's the PC word. Yeah, defecate in a bag and ship it to the said person for about $6,000 or $7,000.
Isn't that Cologuard?
I don't know what it is, but you doo-dooing in a bag for thousands of dollars. Thousands.
There's something for everyone.
This is what me.
Stop the episode. Cut it off. Stop it. Just stop.
No. You ain't gotta show no naked nothing. This is what me and Nika call the backup plan, in case everything else fails. People are willing to pay for these particular things. They pay for them. So it's like, at what point do we, I mean,
I'm sorry. She's like, that's the backup plan. Oh.
If you had a daughter, she's saying, hey, I'm making $200,000 by doo-dooing in a bag, once a week, huh? I mean, what do you say? Don't do that. Don't make $6 figures. Don't make $100,000 to $200,000 a year by doo-dooing in a bag.
You can make it another way. You can make it another way. That's what you're supposed to say.
What other way do you think is easier making $6 figures than just doing something?
If you got a healthy body,
it's going down the drain anyways.
You're gonna do that. If you have a healthy body, you're gonna do that daily, maybe multiple times a day. So that's money down the drain.
The Iron Table is not suggesting that people go to OnlyFans with plastic bags in order to make. What?
I'm not saying they should, but what do you say? Because going back to the original question, we live in a generation now where we got a lot of kids whose parents have been documented on social media have this leaked, and it's bigger. I mean, there's always been parents who were dancers and things like that, but it was on a smaller scale. Now you have everybody with a platform doing all kind of craziness, and how do you go to school and the whole class has seen your mama or your daddy, but I'm
shaking it fast,
or
getting some, or receiving.
Right, just in the most graphic and unpleasant ways. But you go to school, but it's become more common to have kids and not think that those two lanes will ever cross. Because I did that 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and ta-da.
I'm so glad that we grew up in the 90s.
They catching it too, because that documentary, The Freaknik, people were scared that was going to be released.
There. I didn't go there.
Hey, but you don't know any of your relatives that went there, and all of a sudden you say, "Hey, ain't that Junebug?
That's Auntie Lily. Why is she? She nasty."
I don't know. I'll say that I don't know what I would do. It would just be mortifying. But it's reality. It's the world that we live in, and I've made peace with the fact that for this generation, like, it is more common than not for them to exchange inappropriate material via text message and these social media apps. Like, and what you think's gonna happen to it? Well, you think that it went just in the cloud and disappeared? Like it's there, and for the right price and the right, like it's there. And I think we just, I don't know. It's just one of those things that I hope and pray that I don't have to deal with. But for those who do have to deal, if I ever had to deal with it, I don't know what I would do.
Would you think of your relatives or your loved ones any differently because of this?
Yes. Yes.
I mean,
if I know that you are pooping in a bag and you are sent, I don't care how much you make.
We're not saying the pooping now. That's we're just saying that
I'm trying
I feel like it's hot.
I'd rather see that than the other stuff.
Yeah,
And definitely don't do it using my electricity and my camera equipment and my all that. No. Mm-mm.
I mean, you're not disowning family, but you definitely got to have a come to Jesus. It's just like, what in the?
What we doing? What we doing here?
what are you doing right now?
You know what they're doing. It is all. Everyone knows what they're doing.
That's the
At
problem.
this point,
What's your mindset? What's your mindset right now? Why are we going to this particular extreme?
Yeah,
the money. But that now, I'm glad we talking about it because most people will go to OnlyFans for money, right?
yeah.
So I was having this conversation with Keith, and I think we had this in the chat where I'm starting to watch shows from like the 80s, 90s. I'm like catching up on Rock. Phenomenal show. If anybody can get a hold of it, watch it. But then I'm also watching the Boondocks, and I never watched it when it first came out. And I suggest anyone who watches it because of this, there's a lot of language, a lot of language. But
that was on Cartoon Network, and they said every bit of words on all of it. They said all the words.
Oh, okay.
Every
So yeah, that must have been Adult Swim, very late at night, because the language used
11ish.
Yeah. So one of the episodes that I saw was about MLK. Apparently MLK came not back to life, but he was in a coma for like 30 plus years. And when he came back, society had changed. Everything that he had fought for, even got shot for, died for, none of that, it just evolved. I mean, our culture just went to hell in a handbasket. It was just depravity. Every negative thing you could do, they were doing. And so he was trying to, he was disappointed. He was trying to, motivate the people in the way that he was used to doing it. He was like, we didn't throw chairs. What we did was we went marching. We went talking to people. Nonviolent meant that you didn't throw a chair at somebody. But then ultimately, someone struck a nerve and he went off. He went off in a way that and it kind of, I guess, woke, according to the episode, it kind of woke the community up and activism started and then change happened. So my question, and it's just a couple of them, is like, what would you think it would take to unify our culture? And at this point, is it even possible? Now, there's a part two to it. I mean, outside of an act of God, and we all here will say, pray, try to, have positive thoughts. But what do you think? Do you even think it's possible at this point in the evolution of man life? And then, if not, then I guess that takes care of the second part. But for those who think it can be,
I think it's possible.
We pooping in bags. No.
What I've learned, what I believe is that when times are good, everybody's just like, I'm doing my thing over there. But when things get bad, when they get really bad, when they really start to suck, when there's like a global catastrophe, like take 9/11 for instance. So 9/11 happens and nobody in New York talks to anybody. Everybody just walks, they're just like straight ahead. There's no kind of like, hi, good morning. How are you today? That doesn't happen.
Ain't nobody talking about God at all either.
No, anybody doing none of that. But after 9/11, people holding hands with strangers, hugging them.
God bless America.
Oh my goodness. You ain't hearing churches were packed out. And everybody was, coming together. It takes crisis. That's what it takes. It's not going to happen in times of prosperity. It's going to take a crisis of biblical proportions to get people to come together and to actually unify and to do anything that, because right now everybody comfortable. Why should I be worried about anything? I'm in my little, designer Lexus cage with my AC, and I'm just like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I don't have to worry.
Until take the movie Independent. Right. Take the movie Independence Day. The world didn't care about anybody at all until a threat from above. It's like, oh, if we don't get together, we're not going to survive. So, being, like you said, it's going to take a threat that impacts those two parties to just say, okay, let's chill out. There's bigger things to think about than our petty, arguments that we're thinking about right now, and even for our culture, again, it's we comfortable. We think that we have arrived to a certain degree to where, we think that, how can I say this? What did Paul Mooney say? The illusion of inclusion, it doesn't, it's hard to say, but again, it's this illusion that not only have we arrived, but that everything is okay. And sometimes you gotta face a threat to understand that everything's not okay. Again, thinking about like I was telling you guys through in the chat, it was just it was insane to see the amount of energy that people put towards the draft that's going on. But meanwhile, there's two separate wars in the world going on right now, and our energy and our focus is on people running up and down the field with a piece of plastic, but again, maybe if this war hits home to us, then maybe guess what, our priorities will then shift. But again, for even our culture, until something really major happens again, maybe it probably won't. We're even under the illusion that we have the right to vote. Well, yeah, we do. Every how many years? Was it every 10? Was it every 15? One of those.
2025.
Yeah, every 20 years. Yeah, we got the right to vote. Other than that, it's up to some other people to make that decision. So we're under illusion right now until it hits the fan. So I agree with you, Dan.
Keith, you think it's possible? You think there's even a point at this time?
I think we have been lulled to sleep with pseudo freedom. I know the term woke has been overused and abused and just railroaded and just totally just taken out. Now it's just taken out of context. But I really feel like as a people, we are asleep because we have the comforts, kind of alluding to what Danny and Steve have already said. We have the comforts of what we think make us happy because the reality is we are in crisis every day. Like you said, our neighborhoods, we don't have money. Like I heard a video today and said white people don't wake up and think about us. We we wake up thinking about like what everybody else is doing. Meanwhile, we not coming together and focusing on what we're going to do about it. Like I'm impressed. Chinatown keeps their money in Chinatown, and they do business as a community, so to speak.
They were the Jews.
Yeah, the Jews in Dearborn, they have a nice size Arab population. All these groups do business collectively or responsibly, where we really have we
have a survivalist mentality.
We have a survivalist mentality where we will throw the whole tribe under we would drown the whole tribe to get.
how did we get
want.
here in the first place? Somebody had to sell us.
Yeah. So you got people trying to escape the freedom, and somebody snitched. John running to night boss. So somebody had to tell. So we are, but if you look at the state of the world, like Steve said, the world is on fire, and things are not looking good. Even with our political climate, things are terrible. But because somebody gave us a couple of dollars to get a Tesla, or we got that purse or them shoes, them Jordans on. I got my second pair of Jordans. I'm on my way. We get lost in what is really important. And again, it's intentional. I think it's bigger than just race or politics. This is a divine distraction.
There you go. Distraction right there. Distraction. Because everybody's worried about P. Diddy, but a lot of people ain't never met the man a day in their life. But we worried about this man over here, but not even don't care about what's going on in your schools in your own neighborhood. But you worried about P. Diddy. Okay. All right.
Distractions. Okay.
Meanwhile, your schools are falling apart. Your
no
neighborhood,
no books,
no books, no toilet paper. And when we worried about what we're gonna do with P. Diddy,
no teachers.
Okay,
right.
so
about being swallowed up. But
I'm glad y'all brought up the the lack of resources. So then do you think reparations would truly solve the problem?
Absolutely not. We would go out and buy 15 pair of Jordans, or some 22s. The money would be gone in 2 weeks. It would be done.
So you're saying okay. I agree. I do. What are you laughing at? What is so funny?
I think
he said it so quick. I didn't even get a chance to say.
I mean, you can agree and then expound upon it. Like, I'm going to say, yes, reparations is not the answer, because our culture has been designed to always think about not having, and then as soon as you get something, it's not about developing generational wealth. It's about living for the day. Tomorrow's not promised. And so they're gonna buy Jordans. But my thing is, after you buy Jordan, like Jordan was the number one shoe. If you had Jordans, you felt like you arrived. But if you have a whole bunch of money, is Jordans really worth it then?
You got street cred.
But you no longer have to worry about the street.
And that's important. Our street cred.
That's the most important thing.
Now you have money. What do you need?
I'm willing to test it out, because I don't think everybody's gonna mess it up. I think there will be some people who could handle a little bit of reparations, and I would be glad to take my 40 acres and a mule.
What percentage of NBA and NFL stars who are brown skinned go broke and have nothing to show for it after they finish playing? And what percentage of them actually did wise things with the money and have something to show for it afterward? What percentage? Do you think more people have a better life, or do you think they end up right back where they came from?
I think it's gotten better than it used to be. Far better. I don't know the exact percentage, but I know it is not as bad as it used to be, because I used to just bring these guys in, dump a bunch of money on them. No financial literacy, no training, no nothing, no accounting, no age. Well, even some of them was stealing money, but it has gotten better. But most of them still do, blow their money.
But going back to reparations, that's what we've always heard. If we just got our 40 acres and a mule, we would be on the same level.
But we got to define what it shouldn't be. Reparations shouldn't be, I'm going to give you some money. It shouldn't be that. Reparations should look like how sometimes it looks like for other cultures, where there's certain things they don't have to do like other people have to do. Like, there's some cultures that when they come into this country, for like the first 10 years, they don't have to pay taxes. Well, maybe reparations should look like, hey, you know what? Guess what? You get to go to school. You get to go to college for free. We're not going to put you further in debt because of what reparations should be look like as, hey, we're going to because you were at a disadvantage, we're not going to put you at a further disadvantage by just being a ultra consumer and just give you some money. We're going to make things for you that will generate wealth easier for you. Hey, you know what? We may give you a break on your taxes, or again, maybe free education for you, something like that.
But I mean, you got people that don't have. So what are they going to do?
Well, you took money from me. Why not give money back? You took opportunity. I mean, I get the opportunity, but you actually took money. You took things away from me. Why not give it back? Like I was talking to Bryant about earlier, the Black Wall Street. When those people were killed, massacred, many of them had millions in the bank. Like they had money in the bank. The banks didn't find next of kin. The banks didn't find out who this money belonged to. Those banks held on to that money and moved right on. So a lot of people have that. Again, there's an anger, and this isn't all Black people, but there are a lot of people whose families were connected to that and still remember that. And so I don't want you to just give me a discount here and there. I want what you stole from me, the devil.
Well, not just what you stole, but what is the current market value of that? Yeah, you want the current market value, or what it could have been. You know, if it was, you took 100 acres, what is 100 acres worth now? No, I saw this beautiful property. I think it was in like Montana. It was over 200. I think it was like over 200 acres, and it was like 7.5 million. Had a nice house on it. I was like, man, if I had that, I would, I would like that. No neighbors nearby can, give land to friends and family. Like, man, here,
you be out.
A couple acres. Here's a couple of acres. You just gotta build your own stuff. But I mean, again, reparations. Are we agreeing that reparations, that is not the answer? So if it isn't money, then what is the answer? Now we can't go back and undo slavery, but what is the answer in order to kind of, what would the level playing field be?
I think the level playing field means that you take somebody out of the equation. We're looking to another source to be our savior and us acting right. Accountability. Us having accountability for our own actions of how we act now, despite what we know they did to us. Now that we're doing to ourselves. Just be accountable as a culture about, hey, we're not going to allow certain things to be done or our image to be out there like that. There's certain things that you'll see on music award shows that only our culture will be allowed to do, right? No Jewish, no Asian, no Mexican, no Arab. If some of the things that have been allowed on TV in the name of entertainment, if any of those cultures did that, they would have been held accountable like no other. And that person would be like, no, we're not allowing this person to represent us in this light, but we just do whatever. We go to award shows and have our behind out, have the tatas out, all that stuff, shaking it all about. And we okay with that. There's no outcry, but like, hey, that's not a fair representation. So we don't even hold ourselves accountable. So my thing is, how is it that we would be able to receive some reparations on something when we can't even hold ourselves accountable without reparations? It makes no sense.
Well, I think
we're just gonna be.
I mean, we've shown that depravity and just being outright, I'll say outright stupid, is what's profitable. People are getting paid. They're getting rewarded for doing outlandish things, bringing attention to themselves, doing whatever.
That our reward is going to be able to do OnlyFans now. Is that what? is that our new?
Well, I mean,
to get back what's ours.
If you think about, the evolution from like slavery to now, slavery, Massa would say, you do good, your reward would come later. They never said when later would be. And now you've got a generation that doesn't care about later, doesn't care about what their image will look like 5 years, the next day. and they're trying to get theirs now because they don't believe that they're going to live to whenever later might be. So that's where we are. That's where things, I mean, and it's only going to get worse. But I like how you said, Steve, accountability, but we're not able to hold ourselves accountable because we don't really know what accountability is. It's like after grandma and mom, you got the crack epidemic where you had, babies being parents of babies and nobody holding them accountable. Everyone trying to, hey, let's get such and such off of drugs. Let's, they'll be okay. We're going to forgive them, and I understand, support. When you don't know how to really support, you enable. And as a culture, we enable easily because we don't want someone left behind. We don't want to, ostracize somebody for the poor choices that they made or hold them accountable. But at some point, when your decisions, your choices directly affect me, there has to be a line.
Exactly. But again, what you're talking about is when we're talking about accountability, how is it that we should be able to have a monetary reward if we can't hold ourselves accountable for even, let's just say, having that monetary reward? If I can't hold myself accountable, I'm going to be no good with money. There's no point to a reparation if I cannot hold myself accountable, not only as a person, but us as a culture. What's going to be a point? Because here's what's going to happen. They're going to give us, let's say, for instance, they give us 40 acres and a mule or whatever or whatnot. What's the point if we're going to lose it, or we're just going to squander it? We're just going to be consumers. What's the point? Because what are we doing with our wealth now? What are we doing? Not even our wealth. What are we doing with our money now? What are we consuming it on? What are we doing with it now? Because we, black people ain't poor. We spend money.
Yeah,
we spend money.
One of the biggest spenders.
Exactly. So what we doing with our money now?
We don't spend. Whoa, I didn't, Steve. Now that's not fair. We don't spend money. We just don't have no money after we get it.
Oh, okay. See the line. Wait, what they call that in logic?
So, yeah, and that it's complicated. It's complicated, complex. But yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I do also want to acknowledge the people who are setting the standard and who are doing something different. And we don't want them to go without being seen and heard and appreciated. But by and large, most people broke. And the realities, they are what they are. If you follow even people like Dave Ramsey, he talks about what percentage of people in America just have nothing, like don't have $1,000 in the bank. And it's
Crazy.
bigger than any one micro issue. I think that ultimately it kind of goes to us not living in accordance with the principles that are in the basic instructions before leaving Earth. And, yes, we still got, this is the Iron Table. We know that there's a C-O-N conspiracy that is always at work to give privilege to a certain group and to keep the other group at bay through different means. But what I love to point out is this: like, we're not stuck where we are. Like, we can improve if somebody's going to give us something, or if somebody's not going to give it. And I think that we're better off working for it, because what I've discovered in my own life is the struggle builds a strategy. Because we are such a why are we so resilient? Because we had so much resistance. And when we repurpose that resistance, we become the inventors, we become entrepreneurs, we can become a people who are able to rise from the ashes. And I just want to salute the brothers and sisters who have, and to encourage those who have not yet. Because if you breathing, Like Proverbs says, even a live dog is better off than a dead lion. Like, let's go. We've got opportunity to do more than we're doing now, and that's what I want to encourage everybody, including myself, to do, because we don't have to settle. We can have so much more in this season. I see we playing with the pictures now.
Yeah, it's got to be Jones. It's got to be Jones. So I agree. But those individuals who are getting there, going there on the path there, need to at least leave a pamphlet or some breadcrumbs for those who aspire to be there to get there. But I don't believe everybody wants to be there. There are some people that are okay in their dysfunction because it's functional for them. So I'm not disparaging people, those who can't because they don't have the resources. This is for those that can, that choose not to. It's your choice. But yeah, if we get there, we've got to at least leave some markers for others who may wander to try to find that path.
I got a question to a word that Danny just used called this notion of resiliency. What does resiliency look like? What does that look like, especially when we're talking about Black folk? Because I hear that a lot of like, you guys are just very resilient, just a resilient people. What does resilient really mean for Black people? What does that mean?
I don't want to hog the mic, but
hog it.
For me, it's you got kicked in the balls. Can I say that?
Well, you just did.
You said a lot of stuff on this table, so balls is the least.
We can blame the Detroit music on the pre-broadcast. But what was my point again? Yes. Okay. All right. I'm back. I'm back. And we rise. That's probably not the best use of words right now, but
and the reason why, here's the reason why I'm asking
that. Go ahead, Steve.
Here's the reason why I'm asking that. What group of people, what group of or culture that isn't resilient?
Well, yeah, I think that people as it's innate within us. Like it's the God in you. Like there is no way. Keith he just rolled out. He's like, that's it. He said, "I'm a head out, SpongeBob." And so, yeah, I think that it's a quality that is in our DNA just by virtue of us being made in the image of God. Like you can't keep the image of God down. Like you could put Jesus in the tomb, but he coming up. And that same power rests in us. With every breath, like where did this breath come from? It's God's breath. Dog, he's in you and you will rise. Your chest rises, your heartbeat. Like we sleep, we can't survive without being so vulnerable that we can do nothing. We can't see nothing, we can't know anything. We just have to rest and abide. And all of our physiological functioning is a reflection of like a miracle, miracles after miracles being made manifest in our bones. And so for me, it's God. That's me. It's God to me.
Right. And it's not specific to any one race or anything like that. When we talk about this, there's a lot of times when we, even as therapists, we have to go through these things called cultural competency, continued educations, just having an understanding of, what makes every culture this and that. And, when it comes to Black people, just a very resilient bunch. And they just really just very resilient. And it's like, Well, what race have you known to just die? They just don't know. No race is going to do that at all. So again, some of these monikers that we're being receiving, and I'm glad you brought it up with the spiritual aspect of it, is that we take on more of those monikers of just resilient. You're just a very persistent people, but we're not thinking about we're also very spiritual people too as well, and that has been taking a back seat for a very long time because even our spirituality or even our churches are now being, I don't even say made fun of, but it's almost a joke. Again, I've said this before, all of the particular shows that are talking about the black church now is just filled with drama, sex, murder, all those particular things, so that the one thing that really binds us together is being made a mockery. So again, when it comes to people thinking about cultural competency and what makes up us or whatnot, I wish people would speak more of our spirituality and that what we really are, because these other attributes are, I mean, they're there, but that doesn't make up that doesn't make up the totality of who we really are. But again, a lot of times that's taken out for like we just said, the conspiracy to what they say, keep the black man down. But looks like it's working.
This is why I've been rewatching shows in the 80s, the 70s and the 80s, because it was about just wholesome, trying to uplifting of our culture. But that reminds me, I only watched like an episode and a half just to see where it was going, of Good Times. Can't watch it. It is gone.
You talking about the cartoon?
Cartoon, yes, the cartoon. It is gone completely off the rails. But going back to the resiliency, as a people, I mean, even as an individual culture, you will notice really only what your culture is doing. And so that's why I think we say that we're resilient. And I think the world acknowledged that we were dealt we were dealt a bad hand, a very bad hand. And so to get as far as we've gotten in general, not if you look at each, individual year or each decade, because you can find something negative in each of them. And even right now, we've acknowledged what's the media portrayal of us is just terrible. We've looked at our resiliency because we were dealt that bad hand. And so that's all we see. And it's almost like a motivator. Look, remember where you once came from. You were once kings and queens. You can get back there. The only way you get back there is you got to keep fighting, keep fighting, keep fighting. It's like just trying to motivate instead of saying we're there. We got to keep saying that we're almost there. Because if we feel like we're there, then we're going to stop. And look at where we are now. Are we there?
But see, even what you just said, we were once kings and queens. That whole moniker, again, yeah, like you said, we still are. Even spiritually, we're kings and queens. But to say that we were, when people say you're once kings and queens, this is like, oh, I was once great, but I'm not. I have to get back there instead of having that mindset that I'm already there. It's just something spiritually and mentally that I have to prepare myself for. They say, hey, what they say, like, physically you're in the earth, but you should not be of the earth. So again, we have to be thinking of at a higher frequency when we're talking about even spiritually, we're kings and queens. But again, when they talk about being woke, you got to be, you had to be asleep first to be woke, to wake up.
But think of the narrative. I mean, if slavery, how long ago was slavery, and we were indoctrinated with their religious views of, of like, hey, it's your is going to come later. Right now, you need to do exactly what I said. This is what the Lord said, and you're going to get this later. So by the time we really got to the point where we understood it for ourselves, think about, you've got 400 years of being told that you're nothing, that you're going to get it later and all this stuff. And yeah, it's easy to say we were once kings and queens because we don't believe it. We were never taught to believe it. Those that believed it or that even experienced it are no longer here, and their stories You can pass down a story, you can't pass down an experience.
True. But the thing about it is what you just said. Do people even care right now that they were once a king or queen? That's the big issue. Do they even care? They look at you. If you were to say that to most people, they look at you like, man, don't get out my face with that. Go on, man. Come on. Don't you see the game on? Get out my face. You know?
Yeah,
People,
who said we were low?
People don't care. And that's it's so sad that, you know, when we're talking about some of the things that we're talking about, it's amazing. It's amazing how, you know, I would have some of these conversations with people at a previous job, and you know, some people would kind of gravitate towards the conversations, but then you would get some people where you see like you were resetting their brains. They were like, you know, it would just stop. So many people just do not care, and it's sad because it's more of people that don't care than that do care, and it's like at that point, what do we do with those that don't care? Like, how do I integrate myself with you if you don't care about not only your spiritual and mental well-being, but you don't care about nobody else's or your culture? You don't care.
Meet the person where they are. You don't have to do exactly what they're doing.
But what does that mean to meet somebody where they're at? What does that really mean? Does that mean that I have to cater to their BS too, and not hold them accountable? Do I not hold them accountable?
You can hold them accountable, but you can't hold them accountable like at 100%. You got to give them baby steps.
No, we ain't got time for baby steps.
You do without that. The Bible's clear. The Bible is clear when it says that for those who didn't want to do what they need to do, God gave them over to themselves. It's like because you can't make anybody do anything. So you do, even within your people, sometimes you have to say, okay, you guys go to the east and we're going to go to the west, because if we're not all moving in the same direction, then we don't need to move together. There's a reason back in the day when they were doing the non-violent protests, if you going to fight, don't come.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You could be a part of the struggle and you could yell from the back, but you can't be on the front line, because on the front line, we said no fighting back. We said don't hit. So if you're going to hit, you gotta move. We not on the same page. And then there's the other side down the street. Go up to that's in Alabama. You go up to New York. Malcolm X said, shoot back. If they hit you, punch them in the face. Punch right back.
Go to the West Coast.
Hard. So again, we're not, even with the civil rights struggle, we weren't all on the same page. But
that's
you had to find
facts.
You had to find the side that spoke to you. Even so, there's
I'll be clear, that doesn't look like you don't care. That just means that you're.
But to a person who doesn't agree with your point, I can understand in some cases how it can come across. You don't care, and because sometimes it's true. Sometimes why should I care? You know, they don't care. Like one of my favorite Michael Jackson songs. They don't really care about us.
True. They don't care about nobody. All they care about is money.
They care about money. So why should I care? So what?
Again, Keith, then think about what you just said, though. You know, even if we're marching, hey, if we hit back or if we don't hit back, actually, none of those ideas really work. The marching, protesting, and the silence and nonviolent, that didn't work. Violence didn't work. You know what worked? Hitting their pockets. We said, oh, we're not going to consume what you want us to consume. We're going to hit your pockets. Oh, now I can have a right to do X, Y, and Z because I'm hitting your pockets. So both of those ideologies never worked. There's a third ideology that said, I'm not going to spend what you want me to spend.
So do you think that's possible now? Do you think that we can have a collective moment?
We've talked about this. We've talked about this.
Do not pay.
So we've talked about this. But I remember what I told you. I said, can you imagine what would happen if every NBA or NFL player just didn't say, I'm done for a whole season? You'll collapse the economy.
But they're not.
If they just all but again, you ask for a solution. That's a solution right there. That's one solution where you just say, hey, these bunch of people, just stop.
But then what they're gonna say is, well, if we don't go to the arenas to play, then the person who works the concession stand won't get paid. The ball boy won't get paid. There'll be no jobs for.
And listen, while when Trump was in office in his previous term, I don't remember exactly all the details of it. I know he said something to he made a lot of Hispanics angry. He said some stuff to the clean people who do a lot of the manual labor, the cleaner people who clean hotels. So a lot of them went on strikes. They didn't show up to pick the fruit. They didn't show up to clean the hotels. They didn't show up to do a lot of the work they did. And it was only 24 hours. It was only a day. And when I tell you,
Exactly.
Somebody probably tapped him on the shoulder like,
but you're talking about a unified group.
Chill out.
Remember,
Exactly.
a unified group that
Exactly.
they all
That's what he
live
said.
in
We
the same
would
house.
have to use as a
but
unified
in
group. When
need.
Kaepernick decided to kneel,
That was the moment. That was the moment. We
And
missed
the
it.
game still played.
some people did kneel
gotta-
with him. But when he got cut from a team, nobody put pressure on the team to add him back on. It was just like, and you can't make them. But again, there was a lot of division even with that act. He's disrespecting our country, and he's not. That's irreverent and that's disrespectful. And I can't support anything that. I'm in the military. I can't agree with that. Like, again, you have a lot of people who have a lot of ideologies, and it's going to be hard. Look at Christians and how many denominations we have because we all can't agree on what this one book says. So
right. But you said, like, hey, what happens if all the sports people stop? Okay, what about the people that does the concessions, the tickets, all those things and whatnot? My thing is, being of kind of one mind, it's like the money is there to help those out that this is going to affect. Because guess what? Guess how much money we spend in lottery that we never get, but that we never see every single day. Just take black people. How much money do we spend at the lottery? How much money do we spend at the casino? How much do we spend at the strip club? How much money do we spend on all these particular things that we don't need and we don't see and we don't receive an investment back in? That could be going to, oh, you know what? This is going towards the cause. This is going to what do they call it? A GoFundMe for, hey, for our cause.
No, that's what they used to do. Baked pies, steak sales, fish fries.
Yes,
exactly.
When the bus thing, they said you got a car, you gonna pick some people up, and you gonna take them to work. But that was a small sample size in a small area, one city. We're talking about what can we do? I would say even on the East Coast. What is something that realistically can be done that would tip the scales in our favor? Can we even come together? Because most of the NBA was black, and they set out how many games? Because it was in the bubble, one game, and that was, I think, the Milwaukee Bucks. They were just like, yeah, we're not playing,
right?
And there was a threat. Now, how many days until they were playing again?
Because sometimes I don't think there's a plan. Sometimes because we do need to we got a plan. We got to be of all one sound mind and just say, hey, this is the plan. This is what we're going to do. This is the protocol. This is the things that, hey, that we're the shortcomings that may come. We got to have a plan. We can't just be in our feelings and just say we're not going to do this. It got to be a plan.
Man.
It's got to be thought out.
I think and I know this is something that it's way left field. But to me, they connect in my head. When we unify the black family, that will directly impact our ability to unify with each other.
Ooh.
Because a lot of the issues that we have in our homes, and not just husband and wife, I'm talking about a lot of the issues we have in our homes. I'll just speak in general terms. When we get to a place where we can unify amongst our own family, and it will extend to how we deal with each other, because we don't know how to heal, we don't know how to forgive, we don't know how to move forward, we don't know how to work together. A lot of us, it's I hate you, I don't like what you like, you don't, so I can never talk to you again. It's not even just again like
what you bring to the table. What you bring to the table.
Malcolm and Martin talked a lot. Apparently, they talked enough. I won't say a lot. I wasn't there, but they talked. They weren't enemies. They like the way history portrayed it as I grew up. It made it seem like they didn't like each other. Not necessarily, they didn't agree with each other's approach initially, but they talked and they started building rapport, and that spoke volumes to me because, again, being able to talk to people that I don't agree with, and I even saw that working in a prison. I didn't agree with a lot of the approaches of some said gang members, but I understood. But I could listen and understand, and I could hear his side, and he would listen to my side. And sometimes we could find a place in the middle where, okay, you don't have to be no punk. I agree, but you ain't got to stab nobody either. Like, there's a middle ground in there, how you can diffuse this situation without ending up back in here, right? And so I think we as a people have a lot of growing to do with each other and individually, because we'll never work together. Everybody will always be, there will always be somebody.
I agree with you.
The ticking time bomb or the Judas, there will always be dysfunction amongst us. So until we start healing individually and collectively, how would we come together?
You're right. I wholeheartedly agree with you, especially the division between the black male and the black female is at our all-time high right now. So I wholeheartedly agree with you on that.
You have families going through this civil rights movement, and it's easier to come home, like you said. You got help. You working together, even though you don't agree. You may not agree on everything. You still did it together. I don't know if I'm marching and somebody hit my wife or a dog attacks my wife. I don't know if I could not fight back. I don't know. That's why I said that movement probably wouldn't have been my movement. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think I'm Team Magneto. So
right.
it's a reason why Professor X in the chair.
Right.
But you know what? That's crazy though. But that just even that whole the whole moniker of that Professor X was really
Martin Luther King.
And Magneto was Malcolm. Professor X at any point in time could make himself walk. He could make himself walk. He just chose not to. Had the power to make himself walk. Just chose.
And that's true power there. Power to not do what you could do. Even when someone expect or really wants you to do it. It's like, no, I'm good. Choice is our most powerful gift. I will always believe in it.
But we blow it. And we don't ask for I said, but we blow it like we would reparations. But I still think reparations, let's put it on the table. Let's talk about it.
All right. Well,
I think some of us will make some good decisions with it.
I'm getting some 30-inch rims. I don't know what Danny talking about. He living still in the 90s. They ain't on 22s no more. They on 30s.
That's tiny. 22s.
They on 30s.
At the eyesight of Mr. Williams, it's about time for us to wrap this up. But I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna pose. Yeah, he look like he's sleepy. But I'm gonna pose this question. We're not gonna talk up. Nope, that's not the question that I wanted. This is where is it? Is this?
I was gonna say no.
Nah. All right, y'all see this question. Why do men feel the need to defend themselves to their significant other when there's an argument over what hasn't been done or what was done? We're not going to talk about this tonight.
I was about to say, I know you're not asking this right now. Come on, man. This is a whole other 3 hours.
This is to kind of set it up, for the next time we come to the table, because this is, we've all done this. We've all gone through it, but I'm not even going to touch upon it. I just wanted to bring that up. Yeah, that's right. Probably go through it next. For next time we record, we probably will have a story on this. But I thought I'd do something different, pose a critical question for the next time. As we wrapping up, any last words? We probably should start with Danny, because you do look sleepy.
Really?
Yeah, you like it.
Yeah, I'll just say, in terms of my last words, is when it comes to unity, a lot of times we're looking for somebody else to do something. What are you doing? You do something right now. And if you do something by yourself, then you unify with yourself. And if somebody comes and unifies with you, then focus on what you can do. A lot of times we focus on what we can't. So do what you can, where you can, how you can, with whom you can.
Sure. For sure. If I can add to that, my final words for today trying to unify with other people, like you said, man, we need to unify with ourselves first too. So, take some time out away from these cell phones. Read a book. Just read a book. Put the cell phone down for a second. Read a book. Just chill. We don't always have to be in our screens, So in order for us to be centered as a people, we got to be centered individually too. I think that one of our biggest problems is these cell phones, So, pick up a book,
Right, Reverend Jones.
There ain't no Reverend Jones here. I'm gonna look in your eyeballs and say,
You swallowed up.
that's terrible. Last words. I feel like unity is a thing that we all need for the sake of humanity. Kind of like that 9/11. That should we go back? We had Y2K. We had 9/11. We had the blackout in Detroit. We had a lot of situations. I'm thinking about a lot of things that had happened where I saw people change, and I saw the best and worst of people. But it did show me that people can come together, people can work together, and it shouldn't take tragedy. It shouldn't take desperation, but unfortunately, right now it does. We are comfortable, but I'm urging everybody to just kind of wake up, shake yourself, realize that the world is on fire, and we should be taking more time to be accountable for what we say and do.
All right. Well, this has been the Iron Table. Iron sharpens iron, so should men sharpen men. I'd like to thank my brothers again for taking the time out of their busy schedule to just not only talk about, but also be about the thing that we all want to be, which is leaders. All right, fellas, it's been real. I'm gonna have to put that on mute because last time y'all were, singing during the outro, and it's I'm tired of having to correct stuff.
For this episode, For this episode, he need a picture of Chappelle as Rick James with that unity ring. Unity.
Everybody get to sing but me.
I mean, go ahead and sing. I haven't even started the outro. I'm gonna do a short one just for you.
I'm out of water. I ain't ate dinner yet, and y'all know I'm falling asleep. So go ahead. Where's the outro?
All right, fellas, this has been real.
So I'm not supposed to sing during the outro?
Well, it's closing time.
I hate you.
The bill, we tore that up. For truth and accountability are free. You want to leave a tip? Sure, we take your money. But what's even better is if you share this with someone you know. But there's always room for more at the Iron Table.